What's going on, guys? Horror Junkies back. That's right. Exorcist Believer movie review. We're going to get into this because it's interesting for me. But before we do that, I definitely appreciate you guys. If you'd go and hit that subscribe button, that thumbs up button, just go and hit that notification bell. Just hit it. Just hit the bell. You know. Because when you hit the bell, you know. So, Exorcist Believer. Guys, I kind of don't know where to start. Oh, well, I will start out this way. This is going to be a spoiler video, so if you have not seen this movie yet, you might want to leave and come back at a later time. I'm going to start out like this. The first, I don't know, half of the movie, I actually liked it. It had a really nice feel to it. The cinematography was really good. The special effects were nice. The lighting was great. Everything was great for me. Hats off to Leslie Odom Jr. because he did a phenomenal job in this whole movie. You could actually see the acting come into play with him, and it was really, really nice. Olivia O'Neill, she was really good. Lydia Jewett, I hope I said that last name right because I might have butchered it, and if I did, I'm sorry. But the two girls in this movie, they were great. Both played really good parts. Really enjoyed their parts in this movie. We start out in a different country, just like the original, which really gave you that whole Exorcist feel, which is really nice. You get to see some weird things going on in this country before they come back to the States. This is where you meet your characters, which is really nice. And Leslie Odom Jr.'s wife dies, and she's pregnant at the time, and he has to basically choose which one he wants to save, either the wife or the baby, because there's an earthquake and she falls down on a stairwell and gets crushed by some stuff. And later on, they show her he's holding her hand, and the doctor comes up and basically says, "We can't save both of them. You got to choose." So he makes his choice. Then we're back into the States, and you can really tell by his performance that he lays off that he really loves his daughter. Do anything for her. And you know, here's where we get into the trailer, which classic David Gordon Green likes to ruin shit in trailers. So the little girls go off into the woods, they get lost, they come back, you know, it's the same. And this is the part, this is one of the parts he fucked up, because I believe if he wouldn't have showed this in the trailer and just left this for the movie, it would have hit really hard and a little bit nicer for the audience. And, you know, when they ask, he says, "How long you been gone, baby?" And she says, "A couple hours." And he says, "No, you've been gone for 3 days. See, now, if they would have left that out of the trailer, it would have hit a lot better to see it in the movie. But nevertheless, they're in the hospital after they find the girls, and here's where you start getting back into the movie, because they do all of the tests on the girls, and you can tell that they got some carvings in their legs or whatever, and you're like, okay, well, you never got to see that happen. So, I mean, by this point, you already know what happened, but their toenails are falling off. They lost their shoes and shit. But they go through an extensive exam where they make sure that they haven't been sexually assaulted and stuff like that. And mind you, there was probably one jump scare in this movie that probably got me. The only one, when the parents are in the woods looking for the kids, Leslie Odom Jr., he moves a rock in this tunnel type deal, and it's filled with water. He moves a rock because he sees a necklace and there's a snake underneath of it. It gets you pretty good. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It gets you pretty good. So we're back at the hospital. Everything turns out fine, but now the girls are acting weird. So yada, yada, yada. You go on, and it's not up until Ellen Burstyn comes into the picture is where the movie takes a turn for its worst. Honestly, guys, she really didn't look like she wanted to be in this movie, honestly. To me, if they wouldn't have put her in it, it would have been a way better movie because everything with her seemed forced. There's even at times, like at one point, she acts like she's kind of like almost like a superhero type.
X gon' give it to you. What? Wait for you to get it on your own. X gon' deliver.
I mean, she's just, here I am. I know who you are. And, you know, it's just the words that she says that makes you feel like she's a hero at some point. And it just, for me, it feels forced. And you don't, you can really tell it's almost like she really didn't want to be in this movie. They must have paid her pretty good because she was in it. Linda Blair is referenced quite a few times at this point. You see pictures of her, what she looks like now. You see pictures of her when she was Reagan and she looked like a little girl and things like that. Her name's brought up quite a few times. But then this is where the movie gets really forced because she ends up doing something she wouldn't have done in the first movie. She ends up going up to one of the girls that's possessed, and the little girl knows who she is. She talks shit to her about Reagan, and she ends up getting stabbed in the fucking eyes with a cross. So, yeah, she gets fucked up. She doesn't die. I'm just throwing that out there. But when it comes down to the exorcism part, you get the priest that goes in there and he's talking to the higher ups and he's like, we really need to go in there and we need to save these girls. And they're like, no, it's not going to happen. We kind of forbid you to do it. Yada, yada, yada. So basically he pretty much tells them they're on their own. Ann Dowd. I hope I said her name right too. She plays a really good role in this. I really, really enjoyed her in this movie because she takes on a part of actually performing the exorcism. You find out a little bit of backstory for her, which is really good. That part's really nice. She was going to be a nun. She ended up changing her mind before she took her vows. Or she actually got pregnant and she decided not to have it. But she has an excellent role in this movie. She does a really good job and she takes the lead in the second half, but it's not enough because you got all these people in this room trying to do this exorcism. The little girls are strapped to chairs facing back to back. And it looks like everybody that's in this room has no fucking clue what they're doing. Like, not in a story sense, but pretty much at all movie sense. I mean, it kind of reminds you of watching Dumb and Dumber. There's some weird shit going on. It's just weird because it just makes no sense. For me, when they added Ellen into the story, to me, that's where it went to shit. Because this is the only way her And Reagan is even tied into the story because when she comes in it, that's it. That's the only thing that ties them to this story. And it makes no sense. It seems very forced, like I said. So there's some really cool special effects at the end during the exorcism. At one point, you got one of the dads. When they go in, it's weird because all of them take their shoes off for whatever fucking reason. I have no idea, except for this man. And he decides to leave them on. And then halfway through it, he runs outside and he's on the porch and he comes back in and takes his shoes off. And who fucking knows why? I don't have a fucking clue. There's things that are done in this half of the movie that you're just like, why? This makes no damn sense. And then, of course, at some point, the demon pretty much says you have to choose. One of them can live and the other one's going to die. So, Leslie Odom Jr., he basically looks at the mom of the other girl and says, I'm not going to choose. And she says, I'm not going to choose. So they're going forward. We're trying to save both of them. And at some point, the doofus fucking dad who wouldn't take his shoes off the first time, don't know why, he basically yelled out his daughter's name. And then that's when all hell breaks loose. That's when Leslie Odom Jr.'s daughter, basically, she has a fit, floats in the air, blah, blah, blah. She dies. Well, then they pan to the other little girls she lives, but then they pan to this part where the little girl's in that tunnel with the water where the snake was, where I told you, because they was in there kind of doing some shit. And she's in the water and she's hollering for her mom. She don't know where to go. And all of a sudden, the demon grabs her and says, I choose you, and pulls her underneath the water. She dies. She stays dead. And then we go through this whole almost like a Halloween ends type ending to where you're like, okay, what's the town going to do now? So it's really fucking stupid. So now we're at the end. Okay. Typical David Gordon Green shit. This, like I said, guys, the first hour of this movie was fucking phenomenal. I loved it. I was so into it. And I was thinking, okay, maybe I was wrong. No, because right around that corner was a big fucking shit show. It was an extremely big shit show. David Gordon Green, he didn't disappoint. I can tell you that. Like, he took Halloween Ends and disappointed, and he took The Exorcist and disappointed. This is supposed to be a trilogy, and at the end of this movie, you're like, where in the fuck are they going to go now? Because you just really don't know. At this point, you can't see there being even one more movie, but it's supposed to be 3 in total. Wow. Like I said, classic David Gordon Green. Second half of this movie was a big shit show. Unfortunately, because I was really into it and I was really enjoying it, and the story was really nice. And you're like, okay, maybe he's gonna learn off how Halloween ends, and he's gonna do this one correct. Well, no, because it's like he gets to the second half of the movie and he just throws the kitchen sink and everything else with it just to fucking finish the movie. It seemed like to me, and at the very end of this movie, you get about 5 to 10 seconds of Linda Blair. Holy shit. I didn't even think she was going to be in it at this point. But yep, she was in it for the last 5 to 10 seconds. It wasn't long. So, was surprised on that. Did get that surprise because you're thinking maybe during this whole movie she's going to show up at any point. But no, she shows up at the end to comfort her mom because her mom hadn't seen her because after the original movie, the very first one, she wrote a book about what happened to her, and she basically told her mom to go fuck herself pretty much and didn't have nothing else to do with her because she got really famous off of her bullshit, you know. So she comes in at the very end, hugs her mom, tells her, you know, because her mom can't see, got her eyes punched out. Yeah, just like that. So I kind of knew it going in. We watched the trailer. We did a review on it. I didn't like what I seen. So I definitely wasn't going to go to the movies and pay David Gordon Green my damn money to watch another fucked up David Gordon Green movie, which I was correct. Unfortunately, that's just the way it goes. Dang, there's some cop chase or something going on outside. I don't know. Cops and robbers. So, unfortunately, it's just the roll of the dice with these movies when it comes to making sequels off the original, which is absolutely excellent. You know, guys, let me know what you think about this movie in the comments below. I don't know. I'm it is what it is, you know. You just can't. They all can't be good, I don't guess. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to David Gordon Green. You would think Blumhouse would like. This movie cost a lot of money to make too. I think it was like $400 million or some shit. It was like really stupid. And they trusted David Gordon Green to spend $400 million and make a great fucking movie. They were stupid, evidently. So, like I said, guys, leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you guys thought about The Exorcist Believer. This is Horror Junkies, and I'm out.